We would like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity Action Vision for Teams training. And so we're going to dive right in. And let's start off with Jemima. Jemima, what do you have that you would like to cover today?
Oh, I'm not sure. I have been working quite a bit on invoicing,
Okay, good.
checking out invoices and getting ready to send out a whole bunch of more statements by
Awesome.
tomorrow.
You go, girl. All right, good deal. You have any questions? You have any needs on that? Anything you need on that?
Oh, I don't think so. John had kind of got me into it, and been working on it, receiving quite a bit of phone calls and getting paid on the spot.
That's nice. That's nice. You go, girl. Good for you. Um, and has anyone talked to you, or did we talk? Were you on last week when we said something about you, and who else was the other individual that was maybe going to be able to help? Paul, is there a Ruth?
Yes.
Okay. Um, so did anyone talk to you about potentially you and or Ruth sliding in and helping Paul maybe?
Oh, I was quite a bit going in and entering stuff for him.
Okay, good for you. Um, Paul, uh, do you know when Jemima does work for you that can count on your daily report for work done?
No, I did not know that.
Yes, sir. That's the beauty of being, leading up a division is when, other people go ahead and do work, you can count it. Now it's good to say, Jemima helped me on this and this. You don't want to take credit for it, but you can say, hey, we got this and this and this, going on. So good. That's awesome. Paul, what would you like to accomplish today?
Get better caught up.
Getting better. Did you say caught up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how to do that or you need help on that?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out how to delegate everything.
Okay. Um, so do you have any questions or
No, just trying to figure out how I need to delegate all my weekly tasks so I have time for everything.
okay. Um, is Homer on? Homer, are you on? Okay. Um, Mary, anything you want to cover?
No.
Okay. Um, Anybody else have anything else you want to cover before I go into some of the things I've got? Okay. So if you do, just interrupt me. We're getting some showers here, so hopefully we don't lose connection. If we do, that's what happened. All right. So, John had said be proactive in communicating with clients. Um, so if they're coming to us, we're not getting a client. So if a client's having to ask us to do something, um, if a client's having us to ask us to do something, um, and we're not, then we're not proactive with them. Questions on that?
How do you how do you provide a demanding customer he wants his stuff, but he doesn't provide on his end. How do you deal with a client like that?
Right. So, do you know what his personality is?
No.
Is he more assertive or
Well,
less?
yes, yes and no.
Okay. Is he more assertive or less assertive?
Mm, I don't know.
So if we don't know if they're more assertive or less assertive, what are they? Anyone? Generally less assertive. Because more assertive people, you tend to know they're more assertive. If you're not sure if they're more assertive or less assertive, generally they're going to be less assertive. Okay. Is he the owner of the company?
Yes.
Okay. And so is he focused more on task? So he's going to be, if he's less assertive, he's going to be analytic, amiable. Oh, is he focused more on task or people?
I don't know.
Um, and so does he ever talk personal things or is it all business?
Mostly business. It's a her actually. For
It's
the
a her.
most
Okay.
part, I deal with her. I don't deal with her husband as much.
Okay. So if she's less assertive and focused on the task, she's an analytic personality.
I think she has all different types of personalities.
Yeah. Yeah. So so she might be an amiable personality. And so amiables will often have a hard time getting tasks done.
Yeah.
And and so why is she not having a hard time getting her own job done? And then she kind of pushes you on yours. Do you know why that is?
No.
It's because of her husband. So she's probably, if she's amiable, she's probably married to a driver. And so he's putting pressure on her. So she puts pressure on you.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And so now is when it gets really funky, really complicated. So he might not be the most understanding husband. And so she might have a bunch of kids, but he's expecting too much of her and she's trying to please him and make him happy, but no matter what she does she can't because he's expecting, he's not listening to her. That's a possibility. Or it could be that he's understanding of her and she just has a hard time prioritizing things and she gets herself in a jam and she doesn't go ahead and she takes care of everybody else but doesn't take care of the business needs. And so she, even though she creates a lot of conflict, she doesn't realize she's the one that's doing it. And so he might be an understanding husband. He's just like, listen, sweetheart, you got to get this done. And so, or he might be clueless and he might be pushing her far beyond her capability. I've seen husbands that do both. Like, you know, and I've seen wives that do both too. Like she's just overwhelmed. She can't keep up. Or I've seen wives that go ahead and they're not the most disciplined. And so, they're not the most disciplined in what they're doing. And so the task always gets put off to the last. And then, so we had a philosophy in our house I made up and I said, your lack of planning doesn't constitute an emergency on my part. And so what is it that she's not doing on her part?
For example, they want the company financials like ASAP after the bank statement comes out as soon, right at the beginning of the month. Then I go through and I have to figure out spend a bunch of time to figure stuff out because she didn't send her paperwork all over. Then I asked her a bunch of questions and, oh, I didn't get you this, I didn't get you that, I didn't, and she's supposed to send everything over on a weekly basis. Like I told her, she should have a schedule, either do it every Monday or do it every Friday, get all her that week's paperwork over to me and I can enter it. And then at the end of the month, I can get their financials like immediately to them and we can go over anything if we need to. But then, for example, June, I got June reconciled and got those financials over to her and I had a bunch of questions. Then, oh, I didn't get you this and I didn't get you that.
Right. So I think
Etc.
I think I've got the solution. Everybody else have the solution? So the challenge is like in a school, does the teacher give the students the answer? If they do, then the student doesn't really learn. But if the student doesn't even know, doesn't have any idea, so I don't ever know how long I should wait before I give the answer. So if you think higher in the air, like a driver is going to think big picture. So I've got the answer now. I think I've got the answer to Paul's, question or problem or issue. Anybody else have any ideas?
The
Okay.
only thing I'm thinking of is charge more.
Yeah, right. Right. Yep, yipper. And we're not taking that off the table. The challenge is that the husband, she's probably not telling the husband, she's probably throwing you under the bus. It's not her issues, it's your issues. Not that wives do that. I'm just saying that that's likely what she's doing. She's blaming Paul, or the company for these things. So that's definitely an option. Good. Anybody else have any other thoughts on other possible options? Okay, so I think the solution is Jemima.
Why?
Because it's absolutely terrifying being in Paul's position.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want to push her and make her angry because then she's going to go back to her husband, then her husband's not going to be happy. And so, so he's in a bind, so he's a young male. If I was in the same situation, I wouldn't like it either, even being an older guy. Like a man, you just like, what are you supposed to do with a woman? And you can't really, so if you push her, she's going to start talking about her kids and all the other stuff. What do you do then? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't even know what I do with my own wife, much less somebody else's wife. Like, I don't know. So Paul's just, what's he supposed to do? He's put into an impossible no-win situation. And then if he goes ahead and says the wrong thing or what she says the wrong thing, then she's going to get all cranky with him. And then it's just going to be a mess. It's just going to be chaos. But Jemima, she knows how to handle these situations. So it's harder. It's easy for a woman to go ahead and move a man where she wants him moved. It's not good for her. It's not healthy for her. It's not healthy for her husband. It's not healthy for the business. Not healthy for you guys' business. It's not healthy for anybody. But she doesn't even know what she's doing. It's all unconscious. She doesn't realize you're creating. She doesn't like conflict, but there's a lot of conflict. Now, again, I'm going based on I've never met her, don't talk to her, don't have any information. All I'm doing is flying blind. But I've got some pretty good radar and instrument panels. This is probably a pretty solid read on this. And so that information, when Paul says, well, it's actually a woman, that changes everything. The whole thing has changed. Like everything's changed. And so Jemima has the ability, so women are going to have a harder time, pulling the wool over your another woman. Like they can do it on men. They can cry, they can do a whole bunch of things. And Paul just wants to get his job done. He just wants to get the work done. Like that's what he wants. Like, I don't want to talk, just get me the stuff. And she's never been trained that every interruption costs 20 minutes of lost productivity. So now all of a sudden it's gunking up the entire system, the whole thing. It's like being on the, at the RV factory, and somebody's just takes a coffee break right in the middle. Like, we're doing a line roll, guys. Well, yeah, but I got to do this. No, you were doing a line roll. And so Jemima probably can slide in, and she might be able to, figure out and assess the situation. She can have sympathy. So, all a woman has to do is say to a man, my kids, and immediately a man's emasculated. He knows, he's been trained. As soon as children are brought up, you can't push, you can't confront. You just got to acquiesce and say, okay. Like that's what you learn as a man. And so a man just doesn't really have a chance. He just doesn't. So Jemima, and then if a woman says, well, you don't understand, he's gone, he's done. Learned it with his mom. Like when his mom said, when his sisters, his wife, like he's learned. And so Jemima, I think, is the answer to this. I think that she can slide in and take that situation, and she can, does she need to help every month with it? Hopefully not. Hopefully Jemima will go ahead and put a little fear of God, come to Jesus talk, or just be nice when she says, well, it's going to be hard for her to say, well, Jemima, you don't understand. Like it's hard. And so Jemima can go, well, what if we did this and this and this? Because we want to service you. Like our passion, our heart is to service you. But every interruption costs 20 minutes of lost productivity. So if Paul doesn't have everything in his plate, and so she's constantly interrupted if she's got kids all the time, I would advise her as a mom to explain to your children the research about every interruption costs 20 minutes lost productivity. I'm serious. If I was a woman, I would teach my children that. I would teach moms to say, you know what? Because nobody's going to treat them out in the real world. Nobody's going to treat them like you as a mom do. So it's like, your emergency, sweetheart, doesn't mean your lack of planning doesn't constitute an emergency on my part, sweetheart. Like it just doesn't. And so, Jemima, questions on that? Jemima is just, man, am I glad I told, you're on mute. Jemima is just thinking, man, am I glad I told Mark I wanted a 12. Like, yeah, man, that's, Homer's next. Like he's next.
Yeah. I think that's going to be a good idea to have Jemima talk to her, because I already know she does not want to talk to Jemima.
Oh, that's even better. Like, right, because Jemima, she can't pull stuff off on Jemima. No, Paul, you've got a good read on it. Like, yeah, because Jemima, she doesn't, she's compassionate and caring, but you got to do your job. But she would rather talk to Jemima than have Jemima talk to her husband, guaranteed.
I was just going to say, I'm afraid she doesn't want to talk to me because.
Yeah, guaranteed. Now, again, I don't know any stuff, right? I mean, I don't know the name, and I don't need to. I don't know anything. So I might be giving the worst advice on the planet. I understand that. So John, so it's good if John goes ahead, say, hey, this is what Mark was talking. This is what Mark recommended without knowing anything. Like, is this a good idea? So there's history with Jemima I didn't know, which is fine. But
well, the thing is, she has called in and said she totally ignored me when I answered. She wanted straight to John. But she already did find out in the last 2 years that isn't going to work. She can talk to me too.
Yeah.
and she does talk to me some now.
So,
I
I
think
mean,
I think she'll be fine talking to me.
okay. So again, she'd rather talk to you than have you talk to her husband, and we're willing to do that. I mean, we'd prefer not because, man, that's a Potter kid just waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So what we need to do is ideally we need to work with Life Masteries Institute and we need to come up with, some type of a workbook about marriages and own business owners with their wives. So we had a client on the East Coast. He owned an accounting firm and he called me once and he was the Action Vision. He called me, he says, Mark, you work with your wife? I said, yes. He says, how's that work? I'm like, it's not easy. And he's like, I tell you, Mark, I don't know if I can handle it any longer. And it's been, I don't know, 8 years since he told me that. And his wife loves us coaching,
Mm-hmm.
because he doesn't listen to her, but he listens. Like, I don't know if he listens to us, but she just stopped making excuses. Get your work done. So she pushes him and he doesn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so she has an understanding of how to go ahead and solve. So it could be the husband, could be the wife, could be some combination of both of those things. But I'm serious. And so if anybody wants to push me, I mean, first I got to get that X-ray stuff done, but the accounting and financial. But seriously, Life Masteries could put together a beautiful little pamphlet, little booklet that's folded over and stapled and stuff. And it
Mm-hmm.
could go ahead and you could give it to your business owners.
Mm-hmm.
And that would help them to better understand, one another. Because it's hard. It's hard for the husband. It's hard for the wife. It's just hard for everybody. Excellent. Anything else, Paul, you have?
No, not right now. No.
So that's just awesome, buddy. Like those are situations. So a lot of times people go ahead and say, well, you can't help me out. Well, we can if we don't know anything. But so if you have those kind of things, and then Jemima, I know how much you love working with me. There's things that you could help Paul, I believe, with in the plan. And and Katie's kind of taken the lead in some of the stuff with Compass. So I don't know, maybe you and Katie could compare notes. And there's things I think there's things Katie's doing to help, in the off tax season. And then I think some of the same thing Katie's doing for Jason, you could do for Paul. And I think that would help Paul, Jemima. So if you want to email me, I can see how that could be of benefit to you guys and could be a benefit to Compass too, mutual benefit, kind of moving some things forward there too. So that I think could bring some additional help too. And it really doesn't take that much time to
Mm-hmm.
do. So, Homer, anything you got, sir? Okay. So 1 to 10, how would you guys say we're doing in being proactive? So we're getting out in front of clients. So the goal is, your clients better than they know themselves, and you're addressing things before they even come once and ask you. That's the goal. Never twice. But our goal is to know our clients so well that we go ahead and get out in front of them. So 1 to 10, Jemima, how would you rate where we're being proactive with our clients?
I don't know. Maybe a 7. I don't
Okay.
know.
Homer, you're on mute. Sorry.
Yeah, I'd say about a 7 or 8.
Okay. And Paul.
I am not sure what to say to that.
Okay. So being conscious of it, so for me, I'm always harder on myself than the people around me are. I'm harder on myself than clients. I'm harder on myself as a husband than my wife is. I'm harder on myself than my kids are. The people that work with me, my friends, like I'm just, you know, somebody told me that I was an enabler this week. I love that. Just want to give the person a hug and say, thank you. Now, what does that mean? How does that look? There's no explanation. There's no defensiveness. It's like, okay, I can accept that. What do I do with it? Like, how do I take action on it? And then the other two things that John wanted me to bring up is like people shouldn't have to check up on us. So if people are checking up on us, that's costing 20 minutes of lost productivity for us and them. And so I don't like when people have to check up on me. Like it just irritates the living. Like if I've agreed to do something, I don't want her to have to check up on me. I don't want our clients to have to follow up on me. I hate because I just feel like that's just not being a good husband, a good father, a good leader, a good, owner of a company, a good servicer. I don't feel that's healthy. It's not healthy for us. And then, so that's something you want to be proactive in. You don't want to go ahead and say, well, I've been so busy. You don't want to explain why you haven't been proactive with clients or you just answer the question. But inside, you're like, how can I get out in front of them? Like some clients want to be updated maybe once a month, some weekly, some daily. So what does a client want? If you can get out in front of clients, then they won't bug you. Like it's always interesting to me with my grandchildren when they ask their mother or their grandmother, for something, and somehow their mother or grandmother doesn't hear them. Grandpa hears them, but their mother or grandmother, I mean, I guess I do understand if you're hearing the kids all day, you kind of tune them out. But if, I get that kind of, so with me, if the grandkids ask once, I want to be attentive to them. I want to go and say yes or no, or wait, or check with your mom or grandma or whatever. I don't want them to have to ask grandpa twice. It's like, I'm going to be on this thing. I'm going to be out in front of it. The third thing that John and I talked about is a ROI on all of our efforts, stewardship. So the 7 T's: time, talent, treasure, trust, truth, temple, and thought. And then how do we produce the best ROI for what's invested? And so how do we go ahead? We're going to steward. So I believe someday I'm going to stand before my creator and I'm going to have to give an account on how I serviced all my clients. And how I did the things I did. And I'm pretty sure if I messed up, I'm pretty sure I can't explain myself. Well, God, let me explain that to you. I don't think that's how it's going to work. Could be wrong, but I don't think so. So those are 3 things. Be proactive in our communication. Make sure that we don't have people checking up on us. We're proactive. And then an ROI. How can I get an ROI, a better ROI, return on investment for the company? How do I do that? And that just is good stewardship of everything we have. Anybody else have anything else? Okay. Appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.